Welcome back to another Colors of Prog. This is the series where I discuss progressive rock recordings from around the world, as well as some concert events. This time I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to speak of independent artists who are in a way progressive, if their music is not the progressive symphonic music we know, yes, Genesis, the like, or of some of the RPI rock progressive Italiano bands. I'm going to start with two independent artists, and then one artist most of you pretty much very well know, and then one legendary band still in existence. So I'm going to first begin with Andrew Neil. He's considered an outsider music artist. Andrew's songs and music are not unlike those of Daniel Johnston, Syd Barrett, Brian Wilson, and Robyn Hitchcock, among others. Using his own words and interesting, sometimes self-taught chords on the guitar, Andrew, like the aforementioned musicians, creates music that, while seemingly simple sounding, is very complex, deep, and he creates worlds with his music that are probably more insight into his soul, much like those I mentioned. And Andrew's music is also how he views the world around him. Very interesting stuff going on with him. Little background: born into a military family, young Andrew was very much into sports, but a major car accident in 2009, where he sustained a terrible head injury, changed his life. The car accident and the injuries resulted in a few psychotic episodes that required hospitalization and treatment. But that did not stop Andrew's determination to write and perform music. He always loved music, from what I could tell, and whilst in a state hospital, songs just started coming to him. Code Purple, this one, released in 2017, is recognized as one of the few CDs, I believe there might have been a vinyl version of this, recorded in state hospital. It's very interesting, and there's definitely the Daniel Johnston. Whether Andrew's aware of him at this time, I don't know, but it's just the music he recorded is, as I said, very good. The album I really wanted to discuss is Merry Go Round. Merry Go Round came out in the summer of 2018. I actually have the vinyl version as well, and it's very good. There's a YouTube video. Actually, some of Daniel's music is on YouTube, and there's a music video for the Merry Go Round, the featured song. And I'm going to put links in the comments section of this once it's uploaded, if not today, in a day or so, where you could check out that. And as well as, if you're interested in buying any of these independent artists' music, you'll know where to contact them. So I really like the songs that Merry Go Round there. And there's a band here. I think Andrew recorded the vocals and the acoustic guitar parts, and then there are other musicians that were mixed in as well, and the electric guitar, bass, drums, etc. Might even be some keyboards here. I really quite like Merry Go Round, and I highly recommend it. His next album, entitled Freak, came out in the fall of 2019, and songs such as Help, Overdose, Put Me Back Together, Drunk Tonight really are very raw sounding. So it's really good stuff. Again, I will put some links for the Merry-Go-Round album, and you can also, Andrew Neil, by the way, his name is spelled Neil, Andrew Neil. Good stuff. One album I don't have available is Sunny Side, released in 2020, 2021. Andrew had, I believe, undergone chemotherapy. He had cancer, and I believe is clear of that now. TreeheartRecords.com, I believe, has more information on Andrew's music and biography, etc. You can contact them there. I will also put that in the links. Next, I wanted to mention the Sensational Country Blues Wonders. It's a great cover, isn't it? Very psychedelic. Gary Van Meert has long been a staple of the North Jersey, specifically Jersey City arts community for years. His band, the Sensational Country Blues Wonders, that's a mouthful, has long been on the scene, even sharing bills with such acts as Marshall Crenshaw and the Smithereens. The Sensational Country Blues Wonders' first album, release, The World Will Break Your Heart, came out during the pandemic in 2020. The music on that was a nice combination of country, country rock, roots, gospel, and more. And it showcased Van Meert's vocals, a little Hank Williams, a little Don Gibson in the baritone area, and his knack for parodying life events, both seeming personal and in the world, and his experience in them. The New Adventures of a Psychedelic Cowboy, this one, is out in September, I'm told, and retains the country and gospel roots, but also adds a little classic rock influences. I would not be off the mark for saying that there's definitely Exile on Main Street feel to some of these songs. Actually, there's a few rockers on here, and you know, that was the thing with the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. They decided they went to France in a castle or a chateau, and they just recorded so many tracks. They're country, folk, gospel, everything. And in a way, this sort of reminds me of that. It's really, really good CD. I highly recommend it. I will also put Sensational Country Blues Wonders have some music promoting this, and I'll be putting that in the comments section as well, so look for that. Another thing I wanted to mention about this album, next to last song, is called Music of the Spheres, and it features a sitar, and of the two independent artists I just mentioned, this one's definitely, that song is very proggy and psychedelic, you know, good stuff. Next, I'm going to speak about this guy. Yes, Robyn Hitchcock. The Robyn Hitchcock. Robyn Hitchcock was the leader of the psychedelic rock band The Soft Boys. A Can of Bees from 1979 and Underwater Moonlight from 1980 are considered classics of the neo-psychedelic era. And unfortunately, the band broke up after Underwater Moonlight, although they reformed 2 decades later. In 1982-84, there was what was known at the time as a neo-psychedelic music revival. There were bands called the Rain Parade, the 3 O'Clock, the Bangles even got added into that, and the Dream Syndicate. Of all those bands, the Dream Syndicate is the one still recording new music. I'm not sure if the Bangles are on hiatus, but it's a shame that the Soft Boys weren't around to actually bask in that popularity at the time. It was just like 4 years later, and bands that seemingly may have been influenced by the Soft Boys were really out there. So the Soft Boys broke up, Hitchcock has a lengthy solo career, and he released over 20 albums since 1981. Not all of them are solo. Some feature bands like the Egyptians, so they're credited to Robyn Hitchcock and the Egyptians, and some are credited to Robyn Hitchcock and the Venus Three. The Egyptians featured two members from the Soft Boys, and the Venus Three featured Peter Buck from REM. He was a guitar player, and Bill Rieflin, who was drumming for REM at the time. And Bill Rieflin was also concurrently in King Crimson when he was in the Venus Three, among other bands. He's a well-known drummer, percussionist, and unfortunately, he was a member of King Crimson until his untimely passing about a year ago, I believe. Robyn Hitchcock moved to Nashville in 2015, and ever since that has been his base. His albums are just the wordplay. It's hypnotic, hallucinogenic. He's very much influenced by Syd Barrett, and he's been a huge influence on others. And this album from 2017, just simply titled Robyn Hitchcock, is his latest and most recent recording. It's typically irreverent, surreal collection of odd, catchy songs. He still performs with his partner Emma Swift. They're currently, as of mid-July, on tour supporting Emma Swift's album. Robyn usually nowadays plays with he just goes out with his acoustic, and Emma backs him up on acoustic and backing vocals. And occasionally he'll play with a band. If you've not seen Robyn Hitchcock, I really say you should. So, the last one I want to discuss is Fairport Convention and the Full House album. Oops. There you go. Fairport Convention, yeah, history, right? They have a long history, and we'll try to do the Cliff Notes version. Fairport Convention were formed in 1967 by Richard Thompson, Simon Nicole, Ashley Hutchings, and Martin Lamble, who was the drummer. Martin joined after their first live gig, and he was the drummer for a few albums. Judy Dibble joined as lead singer for the first album, titled Fairport Convention, in 1968. She was replaced by Sandy Denny, as most people know. And Sandy Denny stayed for 3 albums, What We Did on Our Holidays, Unhalf Bricking, and Legion Leaf. All of those came out, were recorded and came out in 1969. It's an amazing feat. The band was in, I forgot to include Ian MacDonald as well. He's a singer and instrumentalist. And Ian MacDonald changed his name to Ian Matthews because there wasn't Ian MacDonald in King Crimson at that time. So to avoid confusion, maybe it's a record label thing. After Ian Matthews left Fairport a little later on, he had a band called Matthews Southern Conference, who was dealing with more countryer aspects of the British folk he was working on. Anyway, so the band was influenced by Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, The Band, and Jefferson Airplane. And live, they certainly could play. Some shows showcase Richard Thompson's unusual tunings on the guitar, Dave Swarbeck's fiddle, violin, and mandolin. At the time, these were amplified via microphone. Yes, there was a mic set up on the stage, and the acoustic instruments were not plugged in during the early years of Fairport. Their stuff live was crazy, psychedelic, and even a bit proggy. And Sandy Denny's tenure with the band kind of steered them more toward traditional British music and the British folk era. And the British folk rock era was created when Fairport sort of changed their sound. Sandy Denny left, and they were reduced to just the male members of the band. And the odd thing was they would play with her, in her band, on her solo albums, in her other band, and she would come back, pop in for a guest shot. They would all appear at events on occasion. So that was very interesting. Now, Full House, recorded in 1970, was the first band album without her, as I said, and Ian Matthews. But it also features a tune that could be considered progressive in a nearly 10-minute sloth. True. It's a pretty, I mean, there's still the Celtic sound they developed with Sandy Denny as singer. And there's still, the British folk rock thing and the British folk. But this features the band wanting to just see what we could do. And they were a little unsure of themselves. They're very good songs on here. And they're having a lot of fun, it sounds like. But with Sloth, it's just an amazing tune. You could hear almost like it was done off the cuff. They just winged it. And it's interesting because there was a tour to support Full House. And I found this House Full Fairport convention live at the LA Troubadour. And it's taken from a few releases of live shows, some soundboards, which are pretty good sounding. And there's a crazy version of Sloth on this. I'm going to put Sloth, it's on YouTube in the comments section. Richard Thompson left the band shortly after this. And although he'd pop back in as a guest now and then he would appear at the Croppity Festival, which is in England. It used to be a yearly or bi-yearly event where all different British folk rock bands, British folk bands would go, and Fairport would be, and all, a lot of people, lineup changed so many times over the years for Fairport. But Richard Thompson usually would appear, and he joined the band. So it was like all these different members over the years. Thompson very rarely plays Sloth live. I think it's a fan favorite, but like Calvary Cross, another good song that's a guitar workout. It's just really hard to do because he frequently tours nowadays with his wife, Sarah Phillips, just as an acoustic guitar. It's easier, it's cheaper to tour that way. He does have the Richard Thompson's Electric Trio, the Richard Thompson Band, and he's done a lot of recordings with them, and he's done a lot of tours with them. Back in the days when he was on Polydor and other labels where he had much more presentation and promotion, Richard had a large band, sometimes with horns, great stuff. So anyway, Full House, more progressive, more kind of proggy than you would think from a band. So that's the show today. It's Andrew Neil, independent artist, the Sensational Country Blues Wonders, Robyn Hitchcock, that album, and Fairport Convention's Full House. Also, two surprises. I'm joining the Podbean podcast network, and so the next release of The Colors of Prog will be done through that. That will be within a few weeks. As well, it'll be, I'll start, if all goes well, I'll start that as a season 3. So just, new beginning, right? So anyway, stay well, stay safe, and I hope you enjoy this program.